if you want to call to order, and then I'll go through
I'd
that.
like to bring the planning board meeting to order at, what is it, 7:05, or I'm not sure of the exact time, but
7:09.
7:09.
Computer. It could be wrong, but that's what my computer has.
Yeah, I got that.
7:09, bring the meeting to order.
This
I second.
meeting is being held in accordance with the executive orders of Governor Baker, with adjusted open meeting law requirements to do a virtual platform. The town uses GoToWebinar for that. All content in the meeting is recorded. You can join the meeting in a listen-only mode via phone number and PIN code, or you can join in interactive mode using a mobile device or computer. There is a question box where you can enter questions, or there's a raise your hand function if you have questions. At the discretion of the chair, questions will be taken, and all of those questions become part of the record. All set. Mike.
Thank you, Jake. Do we have one other person attending, or there? I see 4 of us and you, Jake, and then it says there's 6 attendees on mine.
Do you see
Not
Jake?
sure. No, I don't see Jake.
Oh, okay.
I think Mike meant in the attendee list. You can see me.
Okay.
Yes, you have member of the public, Jeff Rollins, here as well.
All right. So
Jeff
is he able to see us now? And if he has a question, he can raise his hand and then we can acknowledge him. Is that correct, I guess?
That's correct, yes. Or he can enter a question in the question box, which I will let you know if anything comes in.
Okay, thank you, Jake. Sunhee, are you able to take minutes again tonight?
Yes, I've started taking minutes.
All right, thank you. Jake, would you be able to share? Oh, great, yeah. Could we review the last meeting minutes, Sunhee, that you sent out yesterday, I think?
Yes. Do you want me to bring that up, or do you guys have it?
I just sent it to Jake. I forwarded it to him. I don't know if he can bring it up or not.
Okay, let's see if I can.
Yes, I can. Just a moment.
Doing that.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Jake. You're good with a computer. I would have a hard time doing that. So present were Mike Schaefer, Deborah Smith, Sunhee May, guests Mariah Kurtz, Baden.
Is it
Browley? I'm not sure. Deb, you know, is that the right spelling?
Brandon.
Brandon. Okay, is it Brandon or Den?
I'm going to say Don. I'm not positive on how he spells it.
Go with On.
Okay,
Probably.
Brandon. Okay, I need to change that.
I wasn't on the meeting.
So I can clarify it's Don, and his last name is Breault, Breault.
Beralt. Okay, thank you for the spelling. I totally misspelled the whole thing. Okay.
At least you got his name there. And Sergeant Holst was on the call.
Yeah.
We started at 7:06. We presented the marijuana bylaws to Sergeant Holst and included the laws around delivery service businesses, package store businesses, and business establishments which offer marijuana to the legally aged public. Sergeant Holst let us know what the local police are doing to keep the safety measures of having marijuana legally used in the, could I scroll down just a little bit? Thank the public. The town of Irving does not currently have marijuana delivery businesses, stores, or establishment. it would fall under special permit in the urban 4.12 marijuana bylaw. I think that's accurate from my perspective. Anything, Deb, or you
That
think
looks
needs
good
to
to
be?
me.
Moonlight?
Well, I want to go back to the beginning because my name isn't in the list of attendees.
Oh, I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Sorry,
I
let me add.
yeah. Thank you, Moonlight.
Thank you.
All right,
I'll add. Thank you.
all right.
Then we talked a little about the planned unit development PUD, continuation of discussion on unutilized buildings in town. And I think we were looking, I believe we've accepted the verbiage pretty much that FERCog gave us, but we're looking at what the map where we're going to apply the PUD. And it was mill buildings, the mill areas that was Central Village portion of it, and the French King were the areas that we had agreed that we were going to allow PUDs. And that was, and I'm not sure if that map is available yet or not. Deb, you said you may have a draft of that we can look at later.
Mariah emailed the map to us quite some time ago. Let me see if I can bring it up here.
Email
Or
it
I
to
can, if you guys keep going, I will look for it and I will email it to Jake and ask him if he can throw it up on the screen.
Okay. Was that the original one you're talking that they gave us? Not the one that you worked with Mariah?
Yeah, the PUD is on the one that I worked with Mariah and Ryan Clary from FERCog on.
I haven't seen that yet, no. Next line was, there are many changes of the town Irving bylaw booklet, including language rezoning, okay. Rezoning of maps, use tables of the land areas, and the purpose statement. Yeah, I think that's good. For the upcoming town meeting in May 2021, there was the decision to extend some of the changes as there is not enough time to cover all areas of the bylaws, the rezoning of the town map, and get resident vote and approval of the changes. Currently, the purpose statement and use table can be presented at the town meeting. I got a couple slight changes. One is, one of the things we were trying to have ready for the town meeting was the floodplain changes, and that was put on hold because the town had asked FERCog if we could use, I believe, the building inspector to be the floodplain manager, and they haven't decided that that's the right direction to go in. And maybe Jake has more information, but I think we're waiting on FERCog to come up with to help the town determine who the floodplain manager should be. Anybody else have any information?
I don't.
And the only other thing that Deb and Mariah mentioned last meeting was, I thought we were ready with the where was it? Changes to the tables where we were what was allowed and not allowed. Is that in this sentence?
Changes to the tables, for,
You know,
you mean for the residents, buildings?
yeah, it was all what's allowed in different sections of town, and we were gonna allow, I thought it was done, but the auxiliary dwelling units, Deb and Mariah mentioned we needed more details on what is an auxiliary dwelling unit, and especially the detached ones. And we started to work on that last time, but we didn't really finish it. I think we were using Greenfields as a guide. So we need to we're not ready to present that table until we finish.
Okay, so I'll
the
take that out.
auxiliary. Well, or you could add that we need to work on the auxiliary dwelling units
Okay.
definitions. As a side note, Conway is having a meeting right now discussing with their people what they're looking auxiliary detached dwelling units is about. It's tiny homes and things like that. So they see that as a way to get more affordable housing into the town. So we're on the right track with that, I think. Okay, that was what I was, yeah, so it would be in your last sentence, the use table you could put in parentheses, define auxiliary dwelling units after
Okay.
use table. Okay. Mike makes a motion to make a presentation to continue. Makes a motion to make a presentation to continue a special town meeting at a later date. Seconds, Moonlight seconds, I'll say aye. So what we were trying to say was, once we get a certain percent of the bylaws changed, we'll make a presentation to the select board to have a special town meeting. And I think probably we need some public meetings ahead of time to explain the changes that we're trying to do. And I'm not sure the best.
We'd have to follow the same process that when we're ready, we have to ask the select board to grant us permission to hold a special town meeting in the late fall, and we'll have to hold a public hearing before that special town meeting for the public to be able to weigh in.
Yeah. And then we adjourn. Thank you, Sunhee. That's good. Appreciate it. Could we go back to the agenda quick, Jake, if you don't mind? Thank you. I'm still kind of on the minutes. Right now, Sunhee, you're using you've got the system down where you can do the minutes pretty well. Now, how do we get those to the clerk, the town clerk, to be filed?
I think I have to download a PFD app, and I think Jackie could probably help me with that. I just have to give her a call, and maybe, or even you, Deb. I don't know. Do you know the documentation where I could download, or either is it download or upload documents so I can get like electronically signed?
You can do it just with Adobe. There's a way to do it in Adobe. The easiest thing, Sunny, if you're comfortable, and I don't know if you have access to, if you just print them at home and sign them,
Yeah.
you can just drop them right off at town hall. They don't have to be received electronically.
Okay.
I just do because it's a convenience and it's an easy thing.
Yep. I might just do that because I like paper. I still like
That's
paper.
totally fine. And there's a Dropbox. So even if you just have, a couple, just stick them in an envelope and address it to Dick and just pop them in and he'll get them.
Okay. I was also just going to review the minutes again, just to, the backlog minutes, just to make sure that they're clear and, correct. Because it's just, when I take the minutes now and then, a few days later, a week later, 2 weeks later, and I write them, I'm looking at the notes going, what did I write? Like, how you do that, and then you have notes and then arrows and circles and all that fun stuff. So if I could just review because this is recorded, just review the recordings again, just to make sure that I make it correct, and then print them off, sign them, and then I'll get them in, Mike. So no worries, I'll get that done.
Just know, Sunny, if you do anything more than like grammatical changes, you'd have to bring them back for us to approve again.
Yep, absolutely.
Have you, Deb, there was a couple meetings ago, Sunhee was out. Have you been able to do those minutes yet from?
I might have totally forgotten, Mike. Let me look. The one, let's see. Let me check. I did email everybody the map, so you guys should all have that.
Okay. Somehow
And-
we gotta get those minutes up. There's a lot of missing minutes from the last year, and we need to get. I'd like to get a matrix put together of the meetings and do we have minutes or not?
I can tell you, I've gone through. No, I'm sorry. I completely forgot to do those minutes, so I will make sure I get them out by our next meeting.
Right.
I actually was the minute taker for 2019 and through 2020. And I
Correct.
can tell you in 2019, we only met twice. And I have minutes for those 2 meetings. And in 2020, it looks like we met 7 times. And from what I can see, I have minutes for all of those meetings.
Okay.
Well, 3 of those meetings, I was not the minute taker. It was actually Sunhee.
Yep.
So I
took
do
it.
have minutes for the
Yeah.
meetings that I took.
Did I start in
Okay.
October, November? When was it?
October.
October.
Yes, because there's a big
Thank you,
happy
John.
star on my calendar.
Ah,
So if we
Okay.
could get those all to Dick too, or if maybe you have already, but that would be, or so that they're all in one, I'm not sure where he's filing them or how he's filing them.
Yeah, I'll get them over to you.
Thought Mariah was trying to do it electronically.
Yeah. Deb,
Okay.
what month am I missing? Because I wasn't, because I was sick. Was it December or January?
I took, let me see here, Sunhee. I think it was the last meeting, wasn't it?
I thought I was
2
there for
meetings.
the February meeting.
Well, the one
Well,
we
It was
had like,
January.
Maybe it was January or
Yeah.
just,
yeah.
I was gone January.
So
I
was that,
think we
so
had
at that
2
meeting,
meetings.
it was just the 3 of us, Mike? It was just you, Deb, and I?
Yes.
Correct.
So that's probably why my name wasn't in there. In the minute.
Right, from the time before, yeah. But,
Right.
anyhow,
Okay.
maybe Deb, are you still looking? I don't.
Yeah, I'm
do
just
you-
flipping through my notes here. I'm listening, Mike. You can go ahead.
Okay. I think we're to the map though now. Looking at I'm sorry, the marijuana bylaw updates. We had made quite a lot of changes to that too. Could we put that on hold though? And go back to that after we get through this, maybe a follow-up meeting. We were looking at putting in like, I got thinking about it more. We were gonna put in like a manufacturing facility where you could take 2,000 pounds of marijuana a year and turn it into, I don't know, oils and things, like edibles, I guess.
Microbusiness.
And we were thinking, I think we were going to open that up to anywhere, if I
Really?
remember correctly.
Open it up anywhere?
No, I don't think we were. Let me see. Let me pull up.
I didn't think that. I thought there was only specific areas where it would, and it can't be around the school, and it can't be around the renovated supply. Those are 2 places that we really can't be around.
Let's see. That's not it. Let me look at the files Mariah sent over.
She sent the most current of the drafts. It would have been in the February 11th draft. But I got thinking about it more. One reason we didn't approve it for some areas was a lot of these would create a lot of odors and use a lot of water.
Yep.
And I don't know if when we originally did it, that's why we didn't allow it in a lot of places, I think. And I didn't think of that last meeting when we were talking about it. But
So what do you think, Mike? When can we, what areas do
I
the
don't
committee?
know. I'm not sure. But I think we need to think about that again, some of the changes we were.
So the only thing, and I can't track the changes, so I'm not sure what we've changed just because of the way I'm looking at it. I can't actually, everything is just black text instead of being black and red. We have commercial greenhouses on a lot less than 5 acres, not to include medical or recreational cultivation. It's special permit across the board. Cultivation of medical and or recreational, including craft marijuana cultivator, cooperative, which the craft marijuana, I believe, is what you're speaking to, Mike, and that is special permit across the board. Let me flip down here. Wireless, wireless, wireless. That's not it. I know there's another area. Okay.
I have the draft with the track changes if you want me to go to a specific
You
place.
could open that and scroll right on down to page 17, I think it is.
It takes a long time for me to find anything, that's for sure. All right. Yeah, that was it. You had it. I think up one, it was like the social consumption. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There you go. Yeah, one of the ones we were looking at was, I just read it, but
Yeah, so it's cultivation of medical and or recreational marijuana, including craft. Jake, you just scrolled out of it. That one right where your cursor is. Including craft marijuana cultivator cooperatives. We have it as special permit across the board.
yeah, I'm wondering if that was there originally all the way across. I can't. It looks like it was. Okay.
If I can interject something, Mike,
Yeah.
when we were on the committee with Jackie,
Yeah.
2 years ago, this thing came up, and I think we as a committee decided that we weren't at that time willing to go any further with this marijuana project at the moment. And if I'm wrong, would someone please correct me?
I thought at that time, Moon, the only thing we were pretty dead set against was cafes, which ended up here in as special permits. That's what Mike and I always laugh about because it's in here as special permits anyways. Craft marijuana cultivator is brand new. That isn't something that was around. That when they're talking the craft marijuana cultivator, that would be the equivalent of someone like Element Brewing Co. over in Millers, or so a small, more of a micro brewery type of business. So not someone that's supplying, hundreds of thousands of pounds or, going into a huge warehouse. So that's actually a really new one.
That's not on this page? Is that the next page? I don't see it on this page, Deb.
It's in the second one up from the bottom, Mike. I'm sorry, third one up from the bottom.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, including craft. Okay, I got you. Yep. So was that the one that, which one was it, the 2,000 pounds a year they could?
The craft marijuana cultivator.
Yeah. And that's a lot of marijuana. I mean, if someone was going to do that.
Well, if you know anything about marijuana in general, it does produce, if you're working with it, it will produce an odor, and it could be, to some people, offensive or getting them high.
Right
Not
now,
that,
we have it by special permit, which I mean, so at least we would be able to get all the neighbors' concerns. You know, it would be put on the planning board to say no if they feel it doesn't fit in that neighborhood. Is that something we're all willing to do, I guess?
Yes, I am, but
Oh,
what,
sorry, go
what,
ahead,
about,
Juan.
what about if we preempted the question by throwing it out to people so they could think about it instead of giving it to them all at one time?
Well, they'll have the choice, Moon, when we do the bylaw, the public hearing. We will, the plan, if we follow the same plan we followed last time, we were going to actually mail this out to mail or have this available around town for everyone to pick up. So we would provide this to everybody before the public hearing. So
Okay.
they would be able to review it and ask those questions when they come to the public hearing.
Okay.
I think to me, that's the best avenue just because it gives everybody a chance to meet and attend in one place. So, you know, whomever's interested and wants to come, everybody gets to hear everybody's questions and answers.
Okay.
Or do it on, I mean, it might take a couple almost. One, I don't know. It's a lot of information to relay to people. That's my only worry. So, okay, thank you, Deb. I guess with a special permit, at least we have some control over what's going to happen. How about the next page, Jake? Is there more on there on page 15? I think there might be. No? There they are. Okay. Medical marijuana treatment center. That was a medical marijuana dispensary. We're saying that's okay in Central Village and French King, but not in Village Residential and Rural Residential. Okay, this is a marijuana micro business. I think the 2,000 pound one. We said no in Village Residential, but special permit in Rural Residential. I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to go look up those definitions for a second.
I'm pretty sure that micro business is a 2,000 pound one.
It is, which makes me question now, what exactly is the craft cultivator?
I think it might be outside grow or a smaller grow business. I'm not positive.
No, I don't either. Should somebody go check on it?
Yeah, I
I'm
think
looking right now.
we don't even know all the definitions, so we better make
You want
sure
me
we
to
do.
check on it? I mean, I don't mind.
There are outside grows going on now in Hatfield, I think, down that. They're becoming more numerous. Coleraine, I'm not sure where that falls in this.
Well, you know, you have a list of those places, and maybe in my travels, I can go by some of those facilities and see how
They're doing.
it is and what's going on with them and how they're going to do this. Because I think in order for us to make a really good decision, we need a little more information.
And then the marijuana delivery only retailer, we said special permit across the board. I'm okay with that. Sergeant Holst was okay with that. He really can't prevent someone from Orange delivering marijuana in Irving, so I don't see, like, it's just the business, and like Deb said, it's not a big business. It's more a storefront with a bunch of cars, probably at the most.
Yeah.
Right, but Mike, I don't want you to misunderstand what I was saying last time. When I spoke about Sergeant and Route 63, it wasn't about people coming from Orange or somewhere else making a delivery. it was about large quantities, 2,000 pounds or 100 pounds, or definitely other kind of drugs. The corridor now is not 91, but the corridor now is 63. And that's what I was talking about. The corridor going from wherever they south up into Vermont or up into New Hampshire. And they're having trouble dealing with it coming through Irving on 63.
I see. Yeah, I picked up on that from you. I didn't know that until you said it, or Sergeant Host said it.
And I just want to clarify, because this is a public meeting, that is mostly illegal drugs, not legal drugs that are being trafficked
That's
that way.
why I made the point. You're right, Deb.
Right.
That's why I made the point. Because
I just
there
don't
were
want any cultivators out there feeling that we're picking on them or anything. I do have the definition. So a marijuana craft cooperative is a marijuana cultivator which may cultivate, obtain, manufacture, process, package, and brand marijuana and products to deliver to a marijuana establishment. And it is actually a cooperative. So it can be a group of farmers, for example. Instead of just one person, it can actually be a group. The formal definition is Massachusetts residents who have formed a limited liability company, partnership, or cooperative. So it's, you know, it's
It
just
could
another
be
type
someone
of
growing.
business.
It's a grower then, right? A cultivator. And so should we go back? I'm sorry, Jake, could we go back up a page or 2 pages and find that that line for the craft again? There you go. So it looks so for commercial greenhouses, less than 5 acres, we allow it and everything.
Yeah, so I think having it all special permit fits because it fits with what we're saying. You know, it's the same thing as what we say that cultivation of medical and recreational is all under special permit.
Right.
So to me, keeping it special permit makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're okay there. I don't think we need to change anything else, Moonlight. I mean, I'd be interested in how the towns are handling that open grow, but I don't think there's anything else here that we had issues with the marijuana bylaw. Up above, you can see where we had auxiliary dwelling units, ADUs attached and detached. We really need to get a definition for detached ADUs.
Well, and I know that was something that I was looking into. I'm going to reach out. Well, I'm looking at finding some information from a couple different towns. And I also need to clarify. So at some point, I will probably reach out to Peggy and invite her to come to a meeting. A lot of towns in my research very specifically call out 3 styles of ADUs: attached, detached, and within.
I lost.
So,
Could you repeat, please, Deb? I lost you.
sure. A lot of the towns that I've looked at, they have bylaws for 3 distinct ADUs: attached, detached, and within the residence. So I'm going to do a little bit more research, grab up some more bylaws from a couple surrounding towns, and then I'll get everything out to you guys and maybe have Peggy come to our May meeting. That would give Mariah enough time to be back. I know ADUs was something that she was, you know, really cared about as well. And that would hopefully give her time to get caught up on everything else and come to our meeting too. I just want to make sure that we're not overlooking a category, or we're not. I found it interesting that so many towns called out the ones within your house. So you've converted your attic or your basement very distinctly as a separate category. And I don't know if we don't, or we haven't yet. And I don't know if there's a legal reason why maybe we should or shouldn't.
I think we've already defined you know, if you look in the definition section, we already we already took care of that, I believe, for inside buildings. It was, or garage, you know, inside a, converting a garage. But well, I think that, like you said, it's more for a new unit that's like a tiny home or something that you're putting in there. But thank you, Deb. Yeah, if you could clear that up, that's kind of a messy thing.
No problem.
That's going to be one, I think we almost need to have one meeting to discuss this table with people, because that's going to be one that people are going to have a lot of questions about, I believe. At least other towns are having a lot of feedback from the people on ADUs. All right, thank you. So we covered the marijuana. Can we go to the map now of for the PUD? We can figure that one out. Thank you, Jake. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. I have two different documents. I have this one that Mariah had sent prior, and then I think Deb, is
I
this
think
the
that's
one
the
that
original one.
That is the one that we need to be looking at.
Oh, okay. Not the one I have on the wall.
No, the one you have on the wall, Moonlight, I don't think would have the PUDs on it yet.
It doesn't. It only has, it has everything else. Okay.
All
Is it possible that I could get a copy of that map, of this map here?
It's in your email. I just emailed it to everybody. I know nothing about how to get these printed, so that would be a Mariah question once she's back.
Okay. Jake, what do you think? Is it too much to ask? Can I talk to, can I?
to have it printed?
Well, yeah, because I have a 60 by 15 or 20 that I keep on the wall so that when we're talking about this stuff, I can look right at the map and see, because I get lost easily sometimes. I can do it.
Yeah, I don't
So
see
what
why
we
not.
had-
I don't know how large the assessors can print. We may just have to send it to Copycat to have it done, but I'm sure that we can have it done. Might just take a week or so.
Okay. So this is the one you did, Deb?
Yeah, this is the one that Mariah and I were working on with Ryan from the FERCog. So I just want to put it out there. This is strictly a draft, just because we do have some public here with us tonight. And I don't know, Jake, if you can blow that up.
Okay.
You'll have to tell me where you want to be on it. I can make it as big as you
Well,
want.
let's look at maybe at the renovator's warehouse down in the bottom left. I can't see it yet, but it's down. Yeah, keep going down a little bit. There you go, over in the left corner there. So this hasn't really been changed from what they originally drafted. I want to limit the PUD to the CV sections of the mill properties. And that still includes all the wetlands, which the conservation department was not in favor of, and I'm not in favor of, and which I thought we all agreed to. So the CV section of that would be the yellow section, and that would be the PUD for renovators. The PUD for the old Strathmore mill to the right of that should just be the CV section too, and not include the wetlands up where the landfill is and all that. So these haven't really been updated for what
Because I don't think we actually discussed changing those. I don't think we agreed. I don't recall any motions or votes on that.
Yeah, we did agree to that, and I have the town. Everybody's been on board with that, so I'll take a vote on it. But that. So this needs. I'll get this revised too. the CV
Well, like
sections and then take a
we're
vote
working with
on it.
Ryan to do maps, and it's something that Mariah and I were tasked with and that we've been working on. We only presented the map, I believe, at our last meeting.
I haven't seen
And
this.
the
map
reason why
yet.
the PUD goes where it goes is because those are the actual property boundaries. So it would be very difficult to say to a property owner, we're only going to put this portion in, you can't have the rest of it.
I don't think it's that difficult. It's not difficult at all. We were gonna do that to the area across from the paper mill up on the other side of town. We're not including all their property, only the central village part of it. I don't know. Well, I'll take care of what you got now isn't gonna, I won't even consider approving, so.
Well, that's why we're a committee and we all vote on it. It's a little frustrating.
I've
We
only
are,
presented it to the conservation department. They don't want the wetlands included. I don't want the wetlands included. Brian doesn't want the wetlands included. I
well,
don't know.
Brian's not here to speak to what Brian wants, so I don't feel I'm not comfortable bringing other people in that aren't here.
I presented this to the conservation committee 3 months ago.
You said today you didn't have the map, and I thought you said the
This
content.
is the original map. You haven't changed the PUDs. Anyhow, so this isn't any good. Let's go on to something else, or I'll work with FERCog to get what I think is the correct map made.
Well, actually,
So-
Mike, I think we should work on this as a committee because we're a team, and this is something that's important. And to have you just miss
Let's
it.
go back to the notes. I've said this for 3 months that it was going to be limited to the CV section of this area. All right.
And again, Mike, we're a committee and there needs to be a vote, a motion and a vote. It is not just
Yeah,
because you say.
You wouldn't show the map. You were trying to include another section for the French king, which isn't
Excuse me,
on this
guys.
map.
I'm going to step away for a moment, everybody.
All right, move on to another subject.
Well, I would like to step in for a minute and say that we are a committee when we can meet as a committee. And I personally think that we as a committee should not just bicker about it, but the four of us should understand what's going on so that as the four of us, we can make the proper decision about what it is. I do understand, Mike, and I will say to you that a couple of months ago, you didn't like it and you said something, but we never really came to any agreement as a committee. And so I think that in that place, if all of us say yay to it, then all of us are understanding what's going on. If you do it, and then even if with an explanation, you say yay and no one
Yeah,
else says it.
I hear you, Moonlight, but I took the initiative to take this to the Conservation Committee with Brian Smith there, and we agreed not to include the wetlands in the PUDs. I told that back to the board, and this thing isn't even close to right, so.
So what?
Mike, may I speak?
Yeah,
So I just want to clarify something. Whether you presented something to another board or commission or not, and whether Brian was there or not, the body that has to approve and agree on a zoning change, planning change is the planning board. So whether those groups and people agree or support what you wish to do, the planning board has to have a majority decision in a meeting, a public meeting of the quorum to make a change.
all right. Well, I'll ask for a vote right now to exclude the wetlands from the PUDs. and only keep it to the central village portion of the, there's 4 areas. The Renovators Warehouse, the Strathmore IP plant, the paper mill, the area across from the paper mill, and Renovators, and keep it to, and then the French King. Did you modify the French King, Deb, and take out the area at the end of the French King?
I'm going to start off by first saying, I want to make something very clear because you kind of made an insinuation, Mike. Mariah and I did not do anything behind anyone's back. We did not keep anything from anyone. We worked on a map. We waited until Ryan provided it to us, and then it was sent out to the planning board for your review. So for
This
you,
is the first I've seen of
I
it.
am speaking, Mr. Schaefer. For you to insinuate that a member of this committee did something underhanded or behind this committee's back is unacceptable. And I would like an apology.
This is the first I've seen of the map, Deb.
Please check your email. It was mailed to the committee as a whole at your request when you asked that Mariah look into it with Jackie what the setbacks for these property were. I believe the date was February 21st.
All right, I apologize if it's there. I hadn't seen it. I'd like to put it up to a vote now to exclude the wetlands from the PUDs and keep it to the central village portions of the mill properties. And let me look at the French King, please, again.
Okay, so am I putting that Mike makes the motion to keep the PUDs away from the wetlands?
No, limit to the central village sections,
Keep the,
and then
let's see, Mike
the-
makes the motion to keep the PUD limited
to the
to
central village
central village
and the French King.
and the French King?
Yeah.
French King. And the
That's what
French,
I tried to do 3 months ago. And you're right, Deb, we never voted on it. But I'd like to make that vote now.
Mike makes the motion to keep the PUD limited to the central village and the French King. Okay.
Do I hear a second?
To keep it, you make the motion to keep PUD limited to the central village and the French King area, yes? I'll
Showing
second.
on. Yeah. All in favor?
I'll say aye, but I don't know.
I would not, I do not push against you too much, Mike, but I'm serious about understanding more of what's going on. I am really behind in the PUD and what necessarily the total problem is. Even though I've been reading stuff, I want to know what I'm doing.
Okay, look at Renovators again. By this map, the PUD would extend all the way up the wetland by the canal up the riverbank. That's not the purpose of a PUD. The IP plant, the PUD goes all the way down the river, down towards where the landfill is. Discussed at the Conservation Committee, that's all wetlands. They're looking at maybe turning that into some kind of walkway or river thing up there, you know, a walk. But the Conservation Department's hoping they can do something there. It's not developable land.
Okay,
You're
so
talking
I
about
have,
the land? Go
so
ahead,
I
go
have,
ahead.
oh, sorry. So my question is, when you say PUD, it's the planned urban development, which means buildings, like livable buildings, or what are we talking here? When it's
The way
planned
Mariah explains it is it's a campus setting where you have like one entrance and exit and multiple buildings. You can do, it's more flexible. It allows more, hopefully for the IP plant, we can get more building of people interested in it and put some manufacturing area in there and housing and things like that. It's more flexible.
In answer to your question, Sunhee, it's a planned unit development, and it is an area, typically an old mill type area, that communities use to smartly and to have a smart and phased development process. A couple things I want to make crystal clear, because there seems to be some confusion. Any and all current restrictions on these properties would still apply. If there is a wetland area on the property, even though the PUD covers that property, any and all wetlands restrictions would still apply. So a developer could not go in down by the IP or renovators or any of those properties and go, hey, there's wetlands, let's fill them in. Concom would absolutely, through the processes that are in place, have the ability to weigh in and to have their concerns heard. I also want to make it to say, we are the planning board. And while I respect the Conservation Commission and what they do, there are times when we may be and have different opinions as what to do. But just because they disagree with something does not mean that that stops our process and that we don't do what we feel is best. You know, yes, I always want to work in conjunction and work harmoniously with other boards, but they absolutely, no one is saying Concom will not have the opportunity to weigh in. If a developer came forward, knock on wood, for the old IP mill, Concom would absolutely, PUD or not, have the opportunity to weigh in. That's part of the approval process for any project. This is something that we've worked really hard on, and we've already accepted the language of the PUD. I believe it was accepted 1 or 2 meetings ago. So accepting the map is kind of formality. And we had originally agreed not to accept the map until all of the zoning changes were complete, and then accepting it in one lump sum. I would ask that we don't accept it tonight and we wait for Mariah to come back, because she is truly the one who is most knowledgeable, and that she have the opportunity to answer anyone's questions or concerns.
So my question, Deb, to you is this. If Brian Smith with the Conservation Committee does not that he doesn't count, but that he's not on the planning board, so he really don't weigh in, would it also apply to Mariah?
I'm not asking necessarily to allow Mariah to vote or anything like that, Moonlight. She can't. I just think that there are questions that Mariah is the best person to answer. That's all.
Okay. So my next question is, how soon do you think she'll be coming back? I mean, I know you don't know, and that's not the problem, but I'm trying to find a reasonable time to complete this process so that we can move on. 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
She, to the best of my knowledge, is out for 2 weeks, is what she said in her email. I'm not comfortable talking about someone's personal stuff, so I will just say I would hope she would be in attendance for our next meeting in April. And if not, I would expect that she would definitely be able to attend by May. I understand wanting to get it done and, you know, having something taken off our list. But if we aren't doing any of our zoning changes, at least till a fall special town meeting, then I don't personally see the rush to rush through something just for the sake of getting it done if people still have questions or aren't clear on understandings of things.
Okay, all right.
I don't agree with you, Deb. I would still want to take a vote today on it. I talked to the conservation department. They don't recommend putting the PUD into the wetland areas. We held this up because of the changes you wanted to make to the maps, you're right. But I don't know if I'm gonna agree with the changes you're gonna make to the maps. So I'd like the PUD to stand on its own with the areas that we have now and keep it to what the motion I made was to limit it to the central village portions of this area in the French King. And I put it up for a vote. Sunhee said yay. I say yay. I need one more here and it passes. If not, this doesn't.
My vote is no.
Moonlight,
Mike, I'll go along with you, but I am not, I would have preferred to get really clear about it. That's my personal opinion. I don't want to hold up anything. And
I've had this on my plate for 4 months now, and it's not going anywhere. So you said yay too, Moonlight, is that correct?
You know, guys, I'm sorry, but to hear people say I'm only going along with it just because,
speak, honey.
that's really frustrating. I vehemently disagree with doing something just for the sake of doing it and for checking it off a list. I question, and I say this as respectfully as I can, I question if people fully understand the intent and what the PUD is intended to do. And I feel like when I hear two fellow members of my committee say, well, I'm going to vote with it just for the sake of voting with it, I struggle with that. I really do. And to see a chair of a committee making statements like, I absolutely will not go along with this, and statements that are very much, I'm going to put my foot down and this has to happen or else, that almost comes across a little intimidating. And I don't feel that that actually lends to having a truly fair, and I mean fair as intent of a democratic type process.
I agree.
I'm going to be very honest. I'm really at my limit right now, and I really need to step away for the rest of the night. So I would just ask you guys vote with your hearts, and you wait for Mariah to come back to be able to address this and answer questions and such, because I don't think there is a clear understanding as to what this does. There are absolute.
I'd like to hear from Sunhee. Sunhee, you heard what she said. How do you feel about this?
I do. It's kind of funny you're asking me right now because I'm reading this book. Actually, it's called Difficult Conversations. And right now we're having a difficult conversation.
Amen.
And I think it's difficult because it's something that Deb and Mariah put a lot of time into and effort into. And it's this project, but it's also you know, your personal like feelings into, you know, like you have feeling into it, which I totally understand. And on the other side, I see Mike, who also has this on his plate, and he's been working on it, you know, presenting it to the Conservation Committee with Brian. And so he also has a stake in this. It's a difficult conversation right now. Like I'm saying, like I'm hearing, because it's high emotions, I feel. As far as the PUD separately, I don't understand all of what PUD is, other than its development in urban development, basically, what Deb said, which means buildings, I'm assuming, in a campus, Deb said, right? Deb, did you say it's a
It's a
campus
campus.
kind of
That's
thing?
how
So it
Mariah likes to
encompasses like
explain it.
a walkway, lawn kind of thing, and it encompasses like buildings, dwellings that's affordable. Is that what you guys are going for, right? Affordable housing through
It's,
PUD?
Yeah,
yes, it's used for a whole mix of varieties.
Okay, I'm
So,
sorry, Mike, what did you say?
light manufacturing.
Light manufacturing as well?
Yeah, it could be like a, in at the Strathmore plant, they were looking at maybe putting in affordable housing, hopefully, and some small businesses in that main building, and then build maybe some light industrial in the back, that type of thing.
Right. And what you're concerned about, Mike, is that you don't want that like manufacturing coming in, even light manufacturing where there's wetlands, because that would
I
actually
just
ruin it.
want to limit the PUD to the CV sections of that. That's why it's CV in that area. And not along the wetlands.
And then Deb has said, and then Deb has said, even though this PUD is on the wetlands, because of the processes that it goes through, it would absolutely be stopped during the process by, conservation committees and things like that, because they don't want development on wetlands. Is that what I heard, Deb?
I just want to clarify, Sunny, I didn't say it would be stopped. The Conservation Commission would absolutely have the opportunity to weigh in.
Okay.
So whatever determination they made, but they would, all of our processes, that board weighs in. So they would have the opportunity to weigh in on it.
Okay. But we still would be able to build on it, no matter if they weighed in.
No,
Because-
it would depend on the restrictions or whatever they determined. So just like when someone comes to us, when we first started with, like one of the solar projects, for examples, and we said that they had to do like screening along the fence and things like that.
Right.
We could say we don't want it there because of X, or the Concon could say we don't want it there because of X, or they could say we're okay with it, but you have to do these steps. So it would be determinant of whatever that board, what their findings and their judgment was.
okay, so my last question, Deb, is this. Both you and Mike can answer this. If we proceed with Mike's suggestion, his proposal to change this around, is that sort of permanently placed, or is that still up in the air to work with?
Right. Like, can we revisit this? Is that what you're saying, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, because if we can revisit it, then I don't feel like, look, I'm like you, Sunhee. I do not know all of what's going on. I haven't gotten my head into it or around it, and maybe this may not be a good time for me because I just got my second shot. And so I'm feeling a little not so good. But I agree with you, Deb, in this sense. Any vote that I take must be from my heart. And I did not give my heart with that vote. I was just trying to ease the difficult moment so that we can make something different work for all of us. I am dead set on us, the committee, making a decision that the four of us or more will agree on, not just someone taking it, anyone upon itself to do something like this. So I rescind my vote, Mike. I take it back, and I'm sorry. And I'm all for it. I'm in your corner, and I want to do the best thing for the town. But I think we need to look at this thing a
No,
little
that's
more.
fine. You
I
can,
cannot argue.
if we go forward with what you have now, I won't vote for it, but that's okay. If the rest of you do, you can approve it without me. That's fine. And I know, Deb, I'm coming across like it's my way or no way, but I'm not gonna approve it the way it is now, so, or vote for it, so.
And
We'll
I
put
have to
this
say,
on
Mike,
hold.
to me, I don't know. It could just be my, just the way that I see it, but I don't really see you, Mike, as being over, coming off that way. But then again, I also haven't put in vocal amounts of time, you know what I mean, into this project.
If you
And I
just
think
look
like you
at the
have, or Deb
Conservation
has
Commission,
with Mariah, you know what I mean? So I think that's a piece that to think about, because you have worked on this quite a bit, and so has Deb with Mariah. That's what I wanted to say. Just, you have a lot of
Just table it for the moment.
buy-in into this. What?
We should just table it for the moment. Because it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like we are going to get any real place with it. And if Mike is doing one thing and Deb's doing another, and I am not opposed to either of your feelings around it, but as a committee, I think we're sort of at a cross point that we need to clear up and get together.
Mm.
No,
I just
I mean, I agree with what Deb and Mariah said, that the Conservation Commission and the DEP can stop things, but the Conservation Commission's opinion was, don't even make it available on the wetlands. And it's just given the developer an idea that he can go in these areas. And that's where I'm coming from.
Okay, and I can understand that. So you just don't want to
But-
give like
well,
a developer a hope that they can develop on these wetlands, basically, is what you're saying.
That's basically what the the chairman of the Conservation Department said, yes, David Brill.
And then Deb, you and Mariah worked on this and have the PUD over the wetlands around the water because
I believe, Sunny, those are the property boundaries. And when we looked at them up close,
Yeah.
because of things like, if you see where we're looking at it down here on the left right now,
Yeah.
that's part of a river. So there is actually already boundaries in place that a developer would not be able to go near. There's setbacks from the rivers and things like that. So the impact and the talk of wetlands and stuff, because of restrictions that are already in place, the developable area is actually is mitigated by that,
Okay.
because there's already restrictions in place that they can't get around.
Could we put those restrictions on the map just to show that? Because right now it looks like this whole area. Do you know what I'm?
Sure. I think they are on another map.
Okay.
This one we were doing, if you do too many things at once, it just becomes a blob. So
Yeah,
you can't really see any of the boundaries or anything.
there is another map.
But you see the map though, it looks like this whole swathy area with the PUD, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It looks like it's the whole thing. And so that might be, visually, it's kind of confusing, given what you said, where there are restrictions and you can't see those restrictions, because,
good point.
yeah.
So I again say that I would agree that if we could wait long enough to get Mariah back in here to straighten us out, she can only give us her opinion. It's still the four of us that need to make this decision. And I think we can do that when we can get clear about it.
Well, yeah, if you could read the verbiage about planned unit developments again, it might help, but
Okay.
you're right. Mariah's going to tell you the same thing Deb did, that there's other laws in place to prevent things from happening. That was her argument before. So
Is it a valid argument?
I just told you the Conservation Commission wishes we didn't have it because it invites the developer to try to develop on wetlands. That was their recommendation. But
And that's the Concom's opinion, and they have a right to it, but they don't dictate how we as the planning board run.
Which I understand that too. Yeah.
And I would ask in the future, if something is being presented to the Concom, that we join them as a joint meeting so all of us could be there. Because I think question and answer is an important thing as a committee. And I think this way, if we had questions that we wanted to ask and understand maybe why they didn't agree with something or why they felt something should be one way or another, it would be nice if we were there as joint boards to be able to have that dialogue.
Well, Mariah was there and Brian.
Oh, she was there. Okay, so she heard.
And she did a good job describing. I didn't want the French king originally, but they went along with the French king, so that's included in it now. But they didn't recommend the wetlands. We had agreed with them to limit to the central village sections, but
Well, you know,
anyway.
there is
Sorry.
one more thing that I have to mention, and I really hate to go there, but a thought came to my mind that if we don't deal with this as the planning board committee, then we could find ourselves being sort of tapered and run by another committee wanting to do their thing and someone from our committee saying, okay, we'll go along with it. I want us to make the decision, not someone else to make the decision for us that we end up saying okay to.
Yep. But I also don't want to say no just because they made the recommendation. Like, we should really discuss it together and why
That's
the
why
pros
we
and
need
cons.
to know more.
We should
That's
know
why
more.
we need to know more. I'm not taking either side on this project. I'm simply saying, if you want my vote one way or the other, I really need to know what's going on. And I like your decision about taking out certain areas and say, these are the boundaries, so we know what's going on.
Right, because visually it looks like it's a whole big swath to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
know that with what Deb said, there are, setbacks, as you said, Deb. We just can't
Yeah.
see them.
I want to be clear like Deb is clear. I want to know I'm doing the right thing. And I could be either way I vote, but if we're not a committee voting on it, then we're a splintered group and we're not really accomplishing stuff.
I agree.
Agreed.
We should be together.
Can I give a recommendation?
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just to clearly define, and it doesn't have to be in the minutes, and whether one of the planning board members wants to take the action, or if it's a request when Mariah is available and able, if possible, what exact information do you want to understand better so that you can be provided, or someone can research and provide the information you need to be informed to the point where you would be acting on an informed decision, because it sounds like that's where we want to go, and and where it's lacking, that there's a lack of understanding potentially of certain things, and whether it's where the wetlands overlay versus the PUD, or what a PUD is exactly and what that would mean, how the restrictions apply, and I'm just making those things up, but if someone wants to take notes of what are the specific requests for information that would help the members to understand the facts they need to make an informed decision.
Let's see. If you guys want to, can you text me what your questions are and I could put them into the minutes or something? If you have specific, what I would like to put in, what PUD includes, what buildings PUD includes, and what are the setbacks? How many feet from the wetlands, let's say, or from the water? How would you describe that? Wetlands or water from the river?
From the river's
is
edge.
200 feet. It's 200 back from the river.
200 feet.
From a wetland, different depending on what it is. I mean,
And is it set back from wetlands as well? Is there a setback for
yeah,
wetlands?
yeah.
So I guess what I would like to know is, you got pub at the top down here in the corner, and you got CV, and CV's in yellow, and the PUD covers from River Street somewhere back in the woods behind my house. what is the difference between them? And if there is
Well,
there a place where there can't be any building? Is that the very top, or is it that down to where the yellow and the PUD meets? Deb, this is not I just want to know what's going on. That's all. Why are they different? And you don't have to answer it now, but I'm just saying that's something that I would be concerned about.
I have a lot of I wonders.
Yeah.
I wonder, you
I
know?
think the best thing to do is if everybody has questions, maybe holding them for a week just to give Mariah a chance to get through whatever's going on, and then maybe directly emailing her.
Okay.
I think out of everybody, she has the best understanding of the PUD and knows how to get the answers. And then we can ask if she is up for coming to the April meeting.
Is anybody interested in inviting David Brule or someone from the CC committee?
Oh, is that the Conservation Committee? Oh, that might
I'm
be
on I am on the Conservation Committee.
you see him? Okay. Do you think he would come for the next meeting or something?
I can ask him.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, and then we get his
Well,
perspective as well as
wait and see,
Mariah.
wait and see if Mariah is available and everything before, we can schedule this later, but I did review it with them a couple of months ago, back in January. So.
Okay. So it sounds like we're gonna sort of table this for right now.
Yeah.
Is that the agreement for
Yeah.
now?
We have to, because he needs 3 votes and he only got 2. And because I took mine back, but I'm not taking it back. I just want to know what's going on. I
Right.
support this committee and their decisions, and if somebody knows more than me, they can have at it.
So probably the cleanest thing to do is for Mike to rescind his motion and make a new motion to table it until our meeting in April.
Table it until,
Okay,
If
I'll
Mike is
rescind
willing,
my
or-
motion again. This is the second time I've rescinded it and move it to April.
okay.
May I make this promise to you, Mike? I hear that this whole thing has been fairly frustrating. I promise you personally
Very good.
that I will learn before our next meeting everything I'm supposed to, so I can make an educated decision about it all. I promise you.
Same. I'm
There's
actually
one-
like really curious now what a PUD is. All encompassing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I hope, Deb, you don't feel upset because I didn't know everything.
Not at all. And
No,
guys,
there's one other.
I just want to make sure everybody fully
And Deb, I'm
understands that
sorry. I didn't mean
everything
to-
that's going on.
I'm apologize to you, Deb. I didn't think you did this behind my back or anything. I just was surprised I hadn't seen it before. But could we go to the other end of town up by the paper mill that's running? There's a PUD across the street from that too. I want to look at. Okay, see, oh boy. So that one, I think you've extended the PUD to cover the whole area.
No, that one needs to be corrected. That one only extends to CV because all the rest of that is pretty much state forest.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I
that-
believe that one was shortened considerably.
That
Okay.
one, I think, yeah, and that was how I was hoping we were going to do all of them. There is another area that's a PUD down by the river, but that's in Central Village, I guess. Down, I think there's a treatment plant down there, but I'm not sure. I think that's what that is. You
All
see
of
what I'm
this
talking
down
about
here-
down by the, yeah.
That in that area is all part of the paper company.
Oh,
Mhm.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
all their property.
paper company.
So,
So that would be an area too of that it's right next to the river too.
should we just rescind this thing and move on
Yep,
and see what else
I
we
wrote
can?
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Deb, I didn't mean to hold you up. Thank you so much for staying and dealing with this a little bit. And if you need to get out of here, you can, hon.
No, I'm good. Thanks, Moonlight.
I worry about you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. I worry about all of
I
you.
think it's all a lot of stress, to be truthful.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So we rescinded this and tabled it to the next meeting.
Okay.
Do we need to vote on that then, or second or anything, or?
No, I don't think we did anything really.
No, we didn't. So, okay, so just, I put that in the notes. Good.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next item. Thanks. Okay, Deb, I don't know if you have that map, but that was more where you and Mariah were changing some of the commercial, I think, residential, rural residential and vice versa. Is that included in that other draft or?
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now.
It's not this one that Mariah sent over this week, is it?
Um, I've looked at so many maps. I need to see the date. No, because that still shows that and we changed that. So no, that is not it.
Well, guys, you're going to lose me because I can't get my computer to charge and
Oh,
I'm
no.
go off. So you should know that my battery is really low. It's at 2%, and I can't get this thing charging.
Is it
Well,
plugged?
Moonlight,
What?
if we lose you, I apologize. Thank you for your levelness tonight, as always, to help us get through these meetings.
I love
Appreciate it.
you guys. I
Love
love
you
when I can do it. I love it. I mean, I just want to make sure that we are family. That's
Yeah.
all we are, and we just got to do what we can do.
Moonlight, there is a phone number on there if you wanted to just call in. It's an
It
option.
sure is, my brother, but I probably I just want to
That's mentioning
I
it.
think he's gonna take a nap. That's what
I'm sorry. I'm messing up.
Do you want to do that next time, Deb, or is that not a good?
Yeah, why don't we, Mike? I
yeah.
can't find that map quickly. I'm not sure where I filed it.
All right. The floodplain bylaws, those are on hold right now, waiting on FERCog.
Right.
Then what I'll do for the next meeting, Mariah sent the last draft in a Word document, and I can edit sections on special permit and site plans to include those things. If anybody has anything else they want changed, send it to me, please, and and then I can make a draft we can review next time. But those were some of the things that I know that we wanted to try to include. A lot of it was extending the time for special permits. I think it's up to 3 years now. And maybe Jake has an idea on that, but could we put in some verbiage that lets special permits go for the maximum period of time allowed, up to 5 years? Right now it's 3 years, but it was 1 year when we wrote it, and that was what it really was. Is there a way, I guess, to extend the time without changing the bylaw? If I'm making sense to you, if the
Sorry.
state says you can have a special permit go instead of 3 years, 5 years, or do we have to go back in and change it again to make it go as long as it can?
If it's defined in a bylaw, then you have to go to town meeting to approve any changes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll have to, I guess right now, the longest time is 3 years for special permits. So we were gonna make it 3 years for just major projects, but I got thinking about it. It's kind of hard to define major project. I would think it'd be just better to go to 3 years for all special permits. Anybody have any opinion on that, or?
I gotta dig through the minutes. If my memory serves, I believe we already voted to make it 3 years.
Okay.
That sounds, I can very clearly remember that we discussed it. And I think, I want to say pre-COVID, I think we actually did vote to make it 3 years. So let me dig through some minutes and look into that.
Okay, thanks, Deb. And then I think Mariah can help more with the number of copies we need, and she wanted to start getting a digital copy too, you know, to help, especially now. That's a big help. But if anybody else has anything else, let me know, and I'll draft those for the next meeting. And then I guess for new business, there were a couple things down here. Moonlight, before I lose you. The lot size and frontage, we'll wait for Mariah on that. The French King solar connection, I went out there a few weeks ago. It's lucky nobody else went. I almost got stuck in my truck.
That wouldn't have been good.
It was terrible. I was up to my floorboards in ice and water. I know, I was surprised I made it. But anyhow, they said they screwed up, and they didn't, when they did the project, they didn't make the connection from the French, I don't know if everyone's familiar, but you go past the police station and you look down in there and you see that little turnaround, and there's a telephone pole about 100 yards down there maybe. That's the last pole, and now they got to put about 5 poles from there out to Route 2 and connect to the main power. They the power company, Eversource, does not want to have to go down into the solar field to make the connection. So they've asked them to make the connection out at Route 2. And the Department of Public Works was there, and everybody, and they agreed that they would make a driveway through the guardrails there right up to Route 2. And I don't have a problem with what they're doing. I talked to Brian this week. He doesn't think we need to do anything, just they want to make sure we're okay with what they're doing. So that's what the plan is. They're gonna connect to Route 2 right up through there and put a little driveway up to Route 2.
That's going to make traffic a little difficult, but yeah.
Well, it's mainly Moonlight just so the power company can service that pole if they have to. So there won't be traffic coming up and down there other than, I believe, the power company when they need to do maintenance.
Thank you.
So it shouldn't be very much.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. And that, I
Mike,
guess, yeah.
Mike, if I may, I believe they have to refile their permit because that's not what's defined in their permit. And any curb cut has to be approved by DOT. That's state highway, I believe. So
Yeah, the DOT was there that day. They were okay with it. I talked to Brian Monday. He didn't, well, what you're saying is different than what he thought. So if they
Okay.
do need the site plan redone, we haven't received anything yet from them.
I will verify with him when he's back next week. When him and I spoke last about it, my understanding was they did, but I will
Yeah.
verify that and we'll communicate back.
All right. Thank you. And then, well, the last thing I did kind of need a vote on today is business cards. I'd like to get some made up, and for a phone number for the planning board, Brian had said if we would like to have our own extension, it would be about $28 per month. I don't really want to put my personal phone number on planning board cards. And then I guess that I would take, if you want me to, I can take the response, or somebody else, of checking that, having that phone forwarded to your phone, or taking messages from that and getting it to the rest of the board if there is a message for somebody, and taking action on it. Does that sound right, Jake? That would be for everybody on the board, probably that one number, I would believe.
I would just say that's however the board wants to structure it. Most other boards and committees don't have a number that goes to the members.
What would be the other option? Have it go to the clerk or something, or what?
Most go to the administration. They go to our office, or my office at town hall, and the administration team fields those calls and then responds accordingly to or forwards on as needed. That's what happens with most boards and committees. I believe across Brian, Betsy, and Mariah, they handle 9 or 10 or 12 boards that are not the Board of Selectmen, and to take those calls and route and handle that that public facing interaction, because most of the boards and committees don't have full-time employees who are in the office who can answer the calls during the day.
Right. Well, what I would be willing to do, if it could be forwarded to my phone and I could take the call, or if you'd rather have it go to one, I guess we need an extension for it to go to, or something, if it's not going to go to somebody. Could you talk to Brian again about that too, please, Jake? And whose number we would use on a business card?
We
If we don't
currently
have our,
on the town website, if you look at the planning board tab, it currently is Mariah, because she's the town planning assistant. So it is the town hall phone number with Mariah's extension.
That is correct.
Do we want to slate this then too? Because we lost Moonlight.
oh, that would be, as long as Mariah can handle the calls and get it to the people that need them, but right now it would be, you do meet a lot of people, and it'd be nice to have a number that they could reach you at. So that would be.
In terms of bandwidth, that's within her job scope. It's part of what our office handles for the boards and committees.
Yeah. So maybe, I don't know how close they are. I think Ian said we could get some business cards made up if people want them, but they're kind of waiting for the branding to be finalized for the final business cards. But we could get some temporary ones made up. All right, I'm okay with having it go to one of Jacob's people, so that's fine. Other business, any other business? No. And then our next meeting, it was tax day, but now it's not. They've extended it another month, so I guess, or May 17th, so April 15th is our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back, and I
Yeah.
need to say that I'm going to try and be at that meeting, but I may do that meeting on the road if I can get away with it, just like we're doing it here. I'm hoping that I can. I really think I need to be at that next meeting more than anything, so I just need to go ahead.
I was gonna say, Moon, do you wanna, can we maybe adjust it to work better for your schedule?
The only way, Deb, that you could do that is possibly the day before, not the day of.
Wednesday, the 14th.
Yes,
Okay. Well, let's make it Wednesday, April 14th, if that's
done.
fine
Thank
with
you all.
everybody.
Thank you all. Yeah, because then I won't have
Thank
to.
you, Moonlight.
You're welcome.
Great. Okay,
Okay.
so make the motion to adjourn.
I
Second.
second.
Which,
All in favor?
Mike got
aye.
it.
Pick one,
Mike,
Sonny, just pick one.
Yes, pick one. You see us running. Come on, what you want, woman? I'm sorry.
Thank you, everybody. And sorry I got heated about some things. Thanks, Jake, for your help.
Of course. Sunhee, just for your records, Colby Lavin was here as well.
I'm sorry.
There was another public attendee
Jeff Rollins.
in addition to Jeff Rollins.
Oh, there was, who
Yeah.
else?
Colby, Colby,
Okay.
Lavin, Lavin.
Oh, he's my neighbor across the road. Okay,
I thought so. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was there as well.
great guy. Okay, excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and also you. I gotta put you in.
Yeah, right. Me, not Mariah.
That's right. Thank you. All right, have a good night, guys.
Have a
Good
good
night,
night.
everybody.
Good night.
Right.
Okay.